Welcome back, everyone. This is Rolling Credits, and I'm your host, Seth. As always, I'm joined by Pat, Gums, and Kirby. Today, we are going to be nerding out hard and talking about video games, video game movies, and so much more, people. So it's going to be a good one. I hope you guys are excited. So let's get right into this, shall we, guys? You ready?
Alrighty, let's go.
Do it. So first things first. 2022 is a big year for games and gaming movies. So I want to start this off with, what is everyone most excited for, like video game wise, or is there a movie that you're really excited to that's a video game adaptation? So yeah, I'll start with you, Pat.
2022, a lot. We've had conversations about this offline a bunch lately, just about all the stuff that's coming out. For me, I know if you guys know, I'm a big fan of MMOs. It's kind of a love that I found in like 2020 and 2021. So Lost Ark is coming out in the beginning of February, kind of like a little bit of a top-down camera style MMO that I'm really excited for. Honorable mention, I'll say Ashes of Creation, which I believe is supposed to come out late 2022, another MMO. So that's kind of the genre I think I'm going for. Not too many shooters I'm necessarily excited for, but I'm hoping a couple might surprise me that kind of come out a little bit later in 2022. But I think those two games will probably be my top picks for this coming year.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kirby?
Well, I mean, geez, there are so many. When I was looking at the release dates, the timeline for 2022, it was just every month there's something exciting dropping. But boiling it down, Horizon Forbidden West is, the next installment in the Horizon Zero Dawn series. And I absolutely loved the first game. Seth, I know you're playing through it.
So fun.
Probably one of my favorite games of the last decade. So that next installment is coming out in a month, I think. Month and a half, something like that.
Yeah, February. I think it's the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it the best game for you personally?
For me, the story. I absolutely loved the story for Horizon Zero Dawn. It was just very engaging. It's something that I was very invested in, something that, interested me as I was playing through it, and just the way that they crafted the world and the storyline, the way that you move through the story and discover things as you go along, it just made it very impactful. So I absolutely just loved the game. So I'm stoked for the next installment. And I mean, as Pat said, Lost Ark is coming. We got to play in the open beta, and it's a very fun game. And I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I love Diablo. So it's got kind of a Diablo style gameplay with I don't know if it's an open world, but just an MMO.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in loving the way that they do that storytelling in Horizon. Everyone I talk to that's finished that game, that's like kind of the shtick is like everyone's like craziest story I think I've ever played through in a video game.
Yeah, story is absolutely amazing.
I still gotta beat it, okay?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say anything, but
yeah, I haven't either. I'm like you, Seth. I still need to finish it out too before the next one comes out. But Kirby, just to echo that, I've heard everybody who says that about Horizon says that that's the deal with that game. It's crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's because the robot dinosaurs comes. I mean,
true.
Yeah, it's robot dinosaurs.
I think what is not to love about that? And more importantly, if there was a movie or a game made after a movie, I kid you not, every time I play Horizon, I think of the movie Avatar.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this is like this could have came right from that movie.
Very true.
I was like, this plays very similar to this, and I'm loving everything about this. That is a great game, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
like I love that game.
Yeah, it's amazing. So Seth, you got to get on that so that we can talk about it.
Spoilers.
And before I pass this over, I've got to do the honorable mention of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. It's coming out sometime this year. They didn't nail down a date yet, but sometime this year.
Hey, you guys want to hate me real quick?
Yes.
Come hate me real quick. I didn't think Breath of the Wild was that great.
I loved it.
I'm with you on it. Because I'm playing through it right now, and it's just so massive, and I'm just like, I'm getting bored here.
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, it's not that it's a bad game. I just didn't think it racked up the hype that it should have. Like, I really feel like Nintendo pigeonholed themselves and was like, hey, we're gonna do what we want to do, and then they like half-heartedly give us what the fans want, and we wanted this Zelda, and so they're like, all right, we'll give you some of what you want, and then it's like dude, just give us everything we want. Like, we want the top tier graphics. Like, I didn't like the durability things with that game. But I mean, a lot of people did really love that. I just felt like the older Zeldas were more of a mysterious adventure. And this one felt more of like a... I mean, if you like Diablo, you'll love this. It's more like a loot and slash, refine and grind. And I was just kind of like, okay, I get it, you know. But I'm here for the puzzles and shit like that. And, I was just a little taken off. I was just a little taken off. Great game, but
you almost felt like it almost felt like a survival grindy game rather than like a story like kind of puzzle game.
See, that's
I never played it. I've never owned a Switch, so I've never had the chance to play it. I've only played PC and PlayStation games for the most part most of my life.
The fact that it was different is what made me like it. Because I've played Zelda since the original NES. Because I'm old as fuck. So
I've been there.
Yeah, I've played through every single Zelda, and you know I love the puzzles. I love every single Zelda game that has come out. I've got a Zelda tattoo for a reason. But like the fact that it was different and open world is what really made me enjoy it, is because it was a break from the normal formula.
I think I can agree there. I guess I was just a little taken aback because I think I expected more puzzles in like grander dungeons.
That's fair.
I felt like this was more like what's that game, Far Cry, where you go take over the base. You like take over a base and then you take over a base and then you take over a base. And I was just like, damn it, I want to go to the mask shop. I want it to be like, I want to be able to purchase masks from Majora's Mask 2 or something. I want that nostalgia. I want to purchase it. I want to turn it into something, and then I can go back to a dungeon I couldn't complete unless I had this type of ability. And like, I know there's some elements in there, but that's where I kind of got lost because I just was expecting more of a puzzler, like that feeling Mario 64 would give you jumping through the paintings for the first time. And you realize that was another world. But it was all right. I give it a solid 7.5. I'm not saying like it was a shitty game. I'm just saying I was expecting something and it flipped me, and I didn't really get into it as much as I thought.
I do think though that a lot of open world games like in today's era fall into that problem though, where it's like each mission feels like a copy paste of like the last one kind of thing. That's like where a lot of these newer open world games can get like kind of redundant. Because it's like, I want to get through all the content, but man, this same freaking, like, trying to take over this hill seems like the same hill I took over like 10 minutes ago. So, it's just like, dude,
Before we get to Gums, I want to, end this part here, but another game that was like that was Red Dead Redemption 2. I couldn't do it. It felt so long.
It was GTA of the Wild Wild West,
The
I was
first one
stealing
was
horses
amazing.
and shit. I was like hunting legendary creatures and stealing horses. Like, I wanted the best horse, and that gave me a drive. If Zelda said, "Hey, go find the best horse," and you got to go to the mountains north, I'm only doing that in Zelda until I get the best horse. Like, that's the type of guy I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I played through what is it, Ghost Recon? Like one of the newer Ghost Recons. Like, what was it? It was
I think it's in the
Wildlands.
Yeah.
And that's the exact same thing. It's just like, okay, you complete, one area, you take out the boss, and you go to the next area. It's the exact same type of missions over and over again.
Yeah. The repetitive fights.
Yeah. So, Gums, what are you most looking forward to?
The games I'm most looking forward to in 2022 is like, I can only pick a few of them. I think one of them is actually Marvel's Midnight Suns. So hint, right? All this Marvel universe is coming together. Ghost Rider, all this other stuff. Well, here you go. Like, this is the game's coming out when the movies announce, announce that Midnight Suns that are coming together. But it's supposed to play a lot like a strategy game.
Oh, nice.
Where kind of it's like turn by turn. If you've ever played XCOM, or I think that's what it's called with the aliens on it. I think it was called XCOM.
Yeah, it's XCOM.
One of my favorite games is XCOM 2, and it's supposed to play more like that, where like I take my turn, I use my ability, I have 4 ability points, and I love strategy games like that make me use my mind. And you're supposed to be able to use like their abilities and then like use those abilities together to create, other abilities / like power moves, right? Explosions and shit. One of the other games I'm looking forward to is God of War Ragnarok. Like, the newest God of War blew my top, man. Like, I couldn't believe how good that game was, and I was telling people to buy a PlayStation just to play it. Like, the the graphics were immense. I felt like I was living the life of Kratos, and I kept calling people boy. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like,
give me a boy.
I felt it. I was like, this is legit. I felt so powerful, but so weak against the bosses. Like, it was just this thrilling battle of like, I knew I couldn't get hit. I could get one shot, but at the same time, I felt so strong, and I had these abilities, and like, it kept me going in the cinematics and the serpent biting statues because it was mad at Thor, and it was just a cutscene, and it was just like, this is sick. And so I'm really looking forward to Ragnarok, kind of finishing off that mythology up there. I'm looking forward to Lord of the Rings Gollum. I have no idea what that's going to be about, but if they have that revenge system from the last Lord of the Rings game, I think that'll be sick. And then Hogwarts Legacy is on my radar. Like, I went and bought a GameCube. First games I bought, they're right here in my room. The first games I bought were Harry Potter's 1 through 4. Like, the discovery on Harry Potter games, go replay them. They have replay value today, is immense. Like, you can find brooms and wands and like random shit hidden throughout that game, and I love that. So if you're gonna let me create my own wizard now, I'm going crazy. Like, I'm gonna be evil. I'm gonna get the tattoo. I'm about to be one of his followers. Like, I'm trying to go pure evil, like Star Wars evil. And then the last one is Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring is going to be the shit, mostly because I like to beat myself up over games. And then when I beat a boss, then I like that sense of accomplishment. I hate losing. So this for me is more of like pure out of spite that I must beat it more than anything.
Yeah.
So that's it for me.
Fair.
I like that. Honestly, we had some of the same, answers here. Like, for me, it's God of War Ragnarok too. I love the God of War franchise. It's probably, one of my favorite game franchises in the history of games. Like, the third one was probably my favorite thing. Spoilers, if you guys haven't played it, but you get to beat the living shit out of Zeus. And it is like the most amazing thing ever. Like, it just is so great. And then also, like, just the fact that we're probably going to be able to lay down some whoop ass on Thor. Like, come on. And then also, I'm really intrigued to see where like the story goes with Kratos' son. I think like all of that tying into Ragnarok is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Hogwarts is going to be such a great game. I'm excited for that. And then I'm surprised nobody brought this up, but there was the TV show of The Last of Us is coming out, and I am really excited for that. So
I don't think I realized that was coming out. I think I missed that a little bit.
Dude, Pedro Pascal's playing like the main guy.
Oh, nice.
Joel, I think it is. And then
Joel.
Yeah, he's playing Joel. And then I forgot who she was in Game of Thrones, but she's playing the daughter, I believe, as well.
And that's gonna be like what, like a show? Do you know where it's gonna be on? Like Hulu,
HBO Max.
HBO.
Oh, HBO. All right, cool.
Sick.
Nice.
HBO's doing it good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I got faith on that now. Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool. And then Lost Ark, I played the beta with you guys, and that was just such a fun time. So those are what I'm really, looking forward to. And I'm sure there'll be some like surprises that they just drop at E3 this summer or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So those are my picks right there. And then, next thing I wanted to say is there a game that you played in 2021 that you wanted to recommend to the audience? Because I know we played a lot of stuff. And we'll start with you, Gums, this time.
Yeah, I'm going to say for multiplayer or like with friends, if you have Xbox Game Pass, go get Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance.
Yes.
I played that with my cousin and my uncle, and like I absolutely love playing games with them. So when we can all do it, it's just a blast. And like we each pick one of 4 characters, and then we just go level it up. And like I could be dying and just talking shit to my uncle, and he's just laughing at me like, you're just gonna die over there. And then him and his son are like running around killing people, and I just think that's a great game. It has high replay value, and it's a loot game. So you go in there, you can beat it one time, one mission, and get a bunch of loot, go back and get better loot, and then keep going along the game. The second game I'd recommend is Divinity Original Sin 2. That's by Larian Studios. Man, Larian makes the best stuff. Divinity Original Sin 2 is like a game I've never played before. It actually was on the PC first, and I ended up catching it when it came out to the PS4. It is a bit older, but it's lower in price now. But basically in that game, you run around as one of like the chosen, and there's like no limits to what you can do. Like you can put water on the ground, then electrify the water, and then shock the person, right? So it's like you can go steal all the weapons from the weapon vendor and then he'll search you for them, and they'll fight you if you have them, or you can get away and hide as a rock somewhere, and then come back and like buy more weapons when you level up. Like, there's just so much replayability in this game, and can be so difficult and so fun with the skill trees that, like, if you are into RPGs like I'm into RPGs and you have not played this game yet, you are missing out on probably one of the greatest games of our generation, and I do not say that lightly. End of story. That's it for me on what you should play.
I don't think I've heard of that one. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah, Pat, that's
so
right up your alley right there, dude.
By the way, it is multiplayer. So like, if we all wanted to get on, we literally all 4 of us could get on and play in the same in the same world, create our own characters, level them up, choose our skills, choose our abilities, and like run off and go take over that world.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I could be into that for sure.
Yeah.
Down. What do you got for us, Kirby?
I'm gonna be the most basic of bitches and say Halo Infinite.
Oh, no, lean into it, Kirby.
Infinite was fucking great. Lean into that.
Still
don't
put
apologize
butter
for
on
that.
your peanut butter bread.
Don't apologize for that. Halo Infinite fucking rocks.
Yeah, the most basic of bitches here. It was just like, so Halo has been a part of my life for a long, long time. I remember a buddy of mine and myself waiting in line outside of like a GameStop for the original Xbox to drop and Halo, and we spent the next 8 hours, I think the next day, just playing through the Halo campaign. So I mean, I've been playing Halo since day one, so it coming back was very exciting for me. And I think that, you know, the more that I'm playing it, I just finished the story not too long ago, actually. It just takes all of the best elements from all of the previous games and kind of just rolled them up into one game. And I just think that the execution was very good. The story was great. And the fact that they dropped the multiplayer early, so everybody got a feel for the multiplayer, which is also extremely fun, like, was just a huge bonus. So, I mean, that's my game right there. It's Halo.
And that multiplayer system's great, right?
Much fun.
Ranked Halo has been iconic since like even the original Xbox was out. I mean, they basically designed ranking systems in Halo for that out of like Halo 2 and 3. So like, and even then, like the way that game revitalized their esports scene has been great to see too.
Oh, absolutely.
And competitive Halo is so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as much as like it might have its own problems outside of that, or that being that, when the game's on and 2 teams are playing, it's super fun to watch. So
absolutely,
yeah, I'm completely with you on Halo Infinite. That game's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
is that your final answer, Patrick? Halo
Oh,
Infinite?
that's not my final answer. I'm simply agreeing with Kirby.
It's all right.
I'm simply agreeing with Kirby here. But for me, like you guys know, I became mostly obsessed with Final Fantasy in 2021. You know, so that's probably going to be my number 1 pick. For those that are, you know, maybe been playing a lot of RPGs and are looking to dive into an MMO, or maybe you are, you know, trying to figure out if you want to start by playing WoW or start playing Final Fantasy, I personally have to put my vote in for Final Fantasy. I think the new player experience is great. My experience with players in that community has been really fun. There is an immense amount of content to be had within the game, whether it's just going in and doing dungeons and playing through the storyline, which is incredible. And I'm not even all the way through the game. I'm only 2 expansions deep. I got 2 more to go before I even can buy Endwalker, which is the new expansion that just came out 2 months ago. So there's so much to do, so much to grind through, so much fun to be had. So I really fell in love with that game. If I'm going to say a shooter, it's going to be Valorant. If you guys, any of my CSGO fans out there that haven't checked out Valorant, I don't know how you haven't. It's a massive game now in both competitive esports and streaming. So, like, it is a super fun game for the PC gamer. So I kind of cater to the PC gamer guys. Sorry, console players, but I've gone to the PC race now.
It's kind of
the
dark side over here.
Yeah, I've gone to the dark side, but those are going to be my 2 picks for the games I played in 2021.
So, Pat, just so the audience knows here, which Final Fantasy is it? Because there's like 40 of them.
Oh, Final Fantasy 14 Online. Sorry,
Yeah.
the MMO, which is the current if you're gonna Google search Final Fantasy, that's probably gonna be the one that shows up. Mainly because the ones, if you look up Final Fantasy 7, it's in 10 frames a second and pixel D. It's like,
Fair.
I'm pretty sure first Final Fantasy is still a turn-based game or something like that, if I recall correctly. So I am talking about Final Fantasy 14.
Just had to let the audience know, just in case,
They're all great.
Fair.
You can get a lot of those on Game Pass too if you want to play some of the older ones.
True. I think that a lot of the
They're all pretty
original
good.
ones, Final Fantasy 1 through 7,
Yeah.
are all on Game Pass. Which I know Final Fantasy 7 is an iconic game.
Yes.
I want to try.
It's just that storyline as well is an iconic story.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I switch over to the PC gaming and things like that with you guys. There's a lot of games that I played, but during the holidays, I bought myself a PlayStation 5, and I've got to say that Ghost of Tsushima is probably my favorite game that I played in 2021. It is the most beautiful game. The world is just built so perfectly. The graphics, all of it is unreal. And plus you get to be a samurai, which is up there with being a pirate. So you get to be a samurai riding around on a horse and just getting into fights with a freaking samurai sword. It doesn't get better than that.
It is pretty legit.
Yeah.
The only thing better
Yeah.
than that is taming a dragon and fighting with that throughout a game.
Add a dragon into that, it's game over.
Oh hell yeah! Samurai sword on top of a dragon. Oh,
This would be so sick.
I'll buy the $70 DLC, bro. What's up?
Right? I forgot who the
into it.
creator
I'm
is,
into
but
it.
if you're listening to this podcast, please add a dragon to the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah! Ghost of Tsushima, Dragon Lord.
There you go. I mean, shit, you fight demons, so you know,
I guess it's not that far-fetched, right?
right?
I mean, I'm gonna give you a hot take right now.
Let's hear it.
Ghost of Tsushima, you go hunt down legendary creatures so that you can create samurai swords out of them. So if I want to hunt a unicorn, I now can get a unicorn blade. I mean, I'm talking Monster Hunter Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh,
I'm
there
just
you
letting
go.
you guys know.
There you
Kind of
go.
would be
lit.
sick.
I kind of like that.
Kind of lit, right? Kind of lit.
It's definitely a good DLC, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I want new swords.
That could be a replacement for Game of Thrones on HBO. I feel like that'd be a
There
cool
you go.
show to see. Just a guy hunting down dragons and turning them into a sweet samurai sword. Sounds
will
pretty
let
sick
you-
to me.
I will let you know that 2 more games to recommend because you guys brought them up. Total Warhammer 2
Oh,
and
yeah.
Monster Hunter's World.
Mhm.
If you've never played those 2 games, oh my God, you're missing out on a lifetime of possibilities.
You
I know
remember
a
when we
lot
saw
of people
that
are
movie?
playing. I know a lot of people are playing Monster Hunter Rise right now. Have you played that one at all? Is that any good?
Yeah, it's all right. It's on the Switch though. It's just an underpowered
okay.
system that gives us half of what we want. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
Monster Hunter's World though, that's on the damn
Is-
PS4, PS5. That shit is fun. You full-time
Okay.
monsters and big ass. Everybody's running around fucking.
Me and Gums went and saw the Monster Hunter movie. I don't
Yeah.
recommend that anymore.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, it was trash.
No,
That's not
gonna be on your
list for
right
today?
over that one.
We actually got pre-screenings to the new Mortal Kombat movie, but
Oh,
we ended up missing it by 7 people, meaning we got there a little bit later than we should, and it was during COVID, so they had to limit seatings. So it was maybe 7 people in front of us, and then they stopped there, and they're like, nobody else can see it. So we're not gonna leave this place, so we went and
Yeah.
seen Monster Hunters, and then we said we should have left this place
Yeah, we
because
should have.
that wasn't
It
worth
was
Wasn't
just
worth the
more-
money. Yeah.
More disappointment on top of the disappointment of not getting into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
that's
We thought we
tough.
were fine,
Yeah.
and it was like Kirby, Conan and San Diego Comic-Con, where you they give you a ticket, but you have to get there early because it's a
Yep.
first come first serve thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell us that for Mortal Kombat, so we just showed up and there was already a line. We're like, oh great.
Well,
Which,
shit.
speaking of Mortal Kombat, that kind of brings me up to this next question. There have been many video game adaptations that have been turned into movies or shows. So is there one that you guys actually enjoyed? Because most of them have been just garbage, aka Monster Hunter. And I'll start here first because we already are talking about Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat was by far my favorite video game adaptation that I've seen recently because it was made for the fans.
Yeah.
It might have not done well ratings wise, but I saw it was the most watched movie on HBO Max during the whole time they were doing the streamings.
Mhm.
And I rented a theater for it for my birthday. I think it was, I don't remember. It's this whole year's been a mess. Yeah, Gums was there for that, but I rented a theater for it, and I watched it like 4 more times after that on HBO Max.
It's legit. So, it's better the second and third time you watch it, actually. Mm-hmm. The first time you're kind of like feeling it out, but the second and third time you're like, damn, that was sick. Like, that was kind of cold. Like,
and they gave my guy Sub-Zero just a moment to shine. Like, Joe Tasman played that character perfectly. Yeah. And like, he was just such a badass. Like, every scene that guy walks in, you're just like, out the door. I'm done.
It was one of those movies where it was like, we know what this is. We're giving you exactly what you want here. Like, don't like overhype this to be like you thinking that we're gonna be like all like hoity-toity about this. This is Mortal fucking Kombat. We're gonna show you some gratuitous violence and some crazy one-liners. And that's all it's gonna be.
All I need to hear, and then I was just like, all right, all bets are off, bro.
Yeah,
bro, give me fatalities. I want to see heads ripped off, arms ripped off. And I loved in the movie when they're like training, they were doing the leg sweep. Everybody knows how awful that leg sweep is.
Just the one,
spam leg sweep.
Yeah,
I love that they had those little things.
Yep.
We saw that movie out here in Vegas. It was like the weekend we had a jiu-jitsu tournament out here, and a bunch of us were competing. And afterwards, one of the guys rented out a theater, similar situation, to go watch Mortal Kombat. So you just had a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys juiced up, like after a bunch of crazy fights, just gonna watch Mortal Kombat, and it was just us. So we're screaming and yelling in the theater. It was the time of our lives. It was exactly what we needed for a movie like Mortal Kombat. It was like, go beat the hell out of some people, and let's go watch people beat the hell out of some people.
Yeah, we need more ASAP, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll go with you, Pat, since you're just talking. So let's hear what you like.
We were going to kind of talk about movies and shows a little bit. I kind of talked about, I don't know if anybody saw our post on our Instagram page and our TikTok about some of our favorite TV shows of 2021. But I was a big fan of the Netflix show Arcane, which was an adaptation off of characters from League of Legends. Mm-hmm. It's not really a direct call out to the show, but it's in terms of like, it's not built around the same concept, but it is built in that universe, and it kind of calls like homage to the lanes and like kind of plays on these characters and kind of creates these crazy backstories for them. A pretty cool story about like an upper versus lower class society, and kind of how, you get good people that come from lower class to kind of overtake, the gang members and corrupted upper class, and kind of how that whole thing kind of clashes and comes back and forth. I thought it was a great story. It makes me want to learn how to play League of Legends because I'm trash at it. I'm trying to learn how to play TFT right now, and I love TFT, but I have no idea what the hell's going on. But I think that was one that I was a really big fan of, and I really wasn't even a big fan of the video game.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Kirby?
I am going to go with Mortal Kombat's already been mentioned, but Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. We were talking about Final Fantasy a little bit ago, and Final Fantasy came up. So if anybody's not played Final Fantasy VII, do it. It is probably one of my favorite RPGs like ever. I love the game. I love the story. And then Advent Children is just a continuation of that story. And it's definitely got a lot of, fan service to it, but the continuation of the story is great. The voice acting is great. I really like the animation style. So barring Mortal Kombat, because that's already come up, then I have to go with Advent Children.
You can say Mortal Kombat too. Everybody knows it's a great movie.
I mean, it was great, but yeah, I also really enjoyed Advent Children.
I actually don't think I knew that they made any Final Fantasy movies.
Yeah,
I know they made 2.
Yeah,
in Spirit of something or something.
Spirit of Within, I think, something like that. Yeah.
Me and my grandfather seen that in the theaters. That was pretty legit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he took me to that. He's not that type of guy. But he was like, "Fuck it, let's go." And I was like,
"We're doing this." Yeah.
He just saw the listing on like a paper. He's like, "Hey, this one looks good. Final Fantasy, let's do it."
Yeah.
Shit, my grandpa's legit, man. He used to let me play the PlayStation with him, and like I'd take over on the jumping parts, and then I'd watch him kill the rest of the people.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's dope.
So. What about you, Gums?
I'm going from if you're not from the 90s, where are you from? I think the best movie adaptations or from games, my number one, and I know this is gonna sound weird, is Double Dragons.
Yeah. I was wondering if this was gonna come up tonight.
If you've never seen Double Dragons, baby, you gotta go watch it. I literally just watched all 3 Ninja Turtles on Netflix a second ago. I thought that was great. They still hold up to this day, and I caught a lot more adult humor than I did before.
Yep.
So Double Dragons, and then I actually do love Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
That campy 90s brother film.
Yeah.
And then for me, every single Mortal Kombat, even the second one because when he turned into the damn dragon, I don't give a shit what type of CGI. In that day and age, that CGI was the best CGI on the planet.
Oh,
beating it. Now you look at it, it's like, dude, I think I could draw something better than that. But that's not the point, because at the time, that was some of the best shit we've ever seen. And so I will give all Mortal Kombats the green light.
Cult classics.
Double Dragons and Super Mario Brothers. And I know those are all from the 90s, but it was like the 90s was a time where cinematography could be campy, because it was like that was the pushing the limits of the technology at the time. Now, because of how real our technology is, we expect this ultra realism. And if it doesn't deliver on that, we get pissed off. And so it's kind of like hard to have like a video game movie now, because we expect too much of it.
Yeah.
So,
dude, that Super Mario Brothers movie was top notch. I still love it. I'll still watch it.
Hey everyone, thank you for checking out this episode of the Rolling Credits podcast. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please drop us a like, hit that subscribe button. If you are listening to the audio only version of this podcast, please consider giving us a 5-star rating. It really helps us out. Now, let's keep it rolling.
Since you brought up older movies, I was thinking just now, what were you guys' thoughts on Doom, the one with The Rock? Because I didn't think it was that bad.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it.
I enjoyed it.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
I especially love the ending where it's fucking first person.
Yeah,
like,
that was sick.
That was sick. I was like, oh my god, like I wish more movie was like that. But the fact that I got my last like 10 minutes like that, I was like, that's what made it. It took it from like a 7 to like an 8.5 just from that. For me.
Yeah. I feel like that one's not really talked about a lot, and it's like on Netflix, but it honestly is pretty solid. Like that, those last like 10 minutes are amazing.
Oh man.
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
So, since we're talking about that, what is one video game that you would like to see turned into a movie or a TV show? Because we've gotten some adaptations, but I know there's a lot still left on the table. We'll start with you, Gums, this time.
Yeah, I mean, probably already going to happen, but the ones I'm hyped for is one, Halo. Like Halo just it is fit to be movies. It is fit to be a series. Like there's, especially with the lore that's in Halo, because it is something we can actually have on the screen now technologically, and like have the spaceship scenes and this fucking dude in this armored suit running around killing Covenant and just be into it. And like it's now's the time for that. The other one is God of War. I just think like God of War could make a really great movie. It could be just so awesome. The thing that sucks about it is like, well, he's fighting gods. So if like Disney gets a hold of it or something, they're going to be like, oh, we can't do this. It'll offend 99%. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Put this shit on HBO. Let him murder whatever he wants. And just like, let it be what it is. Like, might as well make him a DC character. Let's get R ratings on this.
Oh,
yeah. I almost wonder.
Netflix would be good too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they're doing decent with The Witcher.
I'll take it, bro, but
True.
I want that to just be aggressively
same.
It
has to be.
It doesn't have to always have killing, but when it does, it's got to be a straight full episode of just one fight, and it's just got to go crazy. Like I need a full episode per fight.
I was gonna say I think you're kind of already on this track, but I do think that works out better as a series than a movie kind of thing, just because of like the way the God of War games have progressed from like the storyline. Obviously, almost all of them before this, the one that came out recently and the one that will come out, were all Greek mythology, but then we did go into Nordic mythology and whatnot. So like, I think that plays better in a TV series. I think, and then in a movie series, I think it's just, I think you have more room to work with. But I completely agree. I think that'd be a great series on, and give it, you're right, give it to an HBO or a Netflix. Let them get gruesome. Like, I want it to get wild.
I want that first person beating of Zeus.
Yeah, like I want to get nuts. I want to fight Ares. I want to fight Zeus. I want to fight everybody.
Yeah.
You should have to rewind it to see what was going on. Like you should have to watch it again. And I'll tell you what I could really get behind, and what I think most of these things should do. I really think they should drop a movie that like kind of describes the origin. And then after the movie, probably let's say the third month or whenever they say that ticket sales die for the movie, they immediately should always have a series ready to go in greenlit. So then, so that way the momentum carries over and you're just engrossed in it. You know what I mean? Like I want the series to drop 3 months or 4 months, whatever the drop off is for the movie sales. And then just let's get it. Like I'm ready to eat it up and soak it in. And I think that would be really sick. So Halo, God of War, and then I would really actually love Horizon just because it so much reminds me of of Avatar that like I really could dig that.
So before we continue on, who would you cast as Kratos? Because I had God of War also as one of my picks, but I couldn't figure that out.
I don't know, dude. That's kind of off the
Rock.
Yeah. I mean, you could cast him for anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a big bald dude, like so. It's just like
exactly,
it's such an easy pick. Like
he's already there. Yeah.
And he would do it. He would do it well too.
Yeah.
Like I would also like Jason Momoa. I think that would be a good one too.
Oh, that would be cool.
I feel like that's one of these, like I could also say like Dave Bautista could like work it in that kind of role too a little bit too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking longevity because I could definitely see like Jason Momoa with his hair, and then we show how Kratos goes bald.
Yeah,
because he dies and becomes the God of War or some shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm just fucking around.
So speaking of Dave Bautista, since you brought that up, Pat, that actually goes straight into my game that I want to turn into a movie, and it's Gears of War, because he's been trying to play Marcus Phoenix for years. And he would be the perfect Marcus Phoenix.
I can totally see that.
Yeah. And they've been talking about, he's been like putting out like feelers, like everything to get that movie made. And I think that would be such a sick movie. And the story is amazing for Gears of War. Like those first 3 movies, you could turn that into an incredible TV show.
Yeah. If you don't have the chainsaw gun tearing people apart, though, I don't put it on the TV.
No.
Oh, don't bother.
Because that is 99% of the game.
That's so fun.
Even in multiplayer, I'd run up, chainsaw. It didn't matter. I was getting shot at. Didn't care. Chainsaw.
That's what I was thinking of that when I... Oh, go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to say the story of Marcus searching for his wife, I mean, would be just iconic in and of itself. You could do so much. That could be like such just a heavy plot point to be able to bring people into that. I think it'd be so great.
And I'll talk more about that actually later in this podcast here today, because there's a lot of stuff that you can really do with that, and the character arcs and things like that are just unbelievable. But yeah, going back, I was thinking about that, and I was like, how sick would it be to see like Dave Bautista just like holding a prop chainsaw gun, and then they start to sell those like they do lightsabers.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'd be the first in line to get that prop. $300, it's fine. I'll pay for it. What about you, Pat? What do you want to see turned into a movie?
You know, I gotta say, like, I wouldn't have thought of this before this podcast, but when you guys brought up Horizon as a movie with the relation to Avatar, I was like, oh, that's freaking genius. That's absolutely genius. I think going into it, my vote was on Red Dead. And it would be some like just like an easy Western. You know what I mean? Something real gritty, like a really good story behind it, kind of thing, and just like the story of like these cowboys and whatnot living in this like outlawish town, and like the duality of like trying to be good or like trying to be like a an outlaw at the same time. I think there's like a lot there to like kind of really do something cool. It'd be funky because like, you know, Red Dead, the series, they always have like different endings based on how you play the character kind of thing. So like it'd be kind of interesting to see, even for the video game fans, like which direction do they go? Like, do they make him go dark and then make a series that comes out that redeems himself? Or like, do they redeem him off there? I think there's a lot you could do with that. So I think that'd be a really cool way to make that adaptation.
And I would, so I like to leave this door open. I would still love there to be fantasy in that game. Like, because I would want to leave the door open for anything to happen in Red Dead. Like, I know you can go like chase those mystical, like you can get to chase the mystical horse. Like, I would really, really enjoy having an episode where he goes and finds that horse, and that horse becomes like a very important part of that series. Where like he whistles, you know, it's kind of like Roach for The Witcher, you know, and like like those things become something for him, so that they like lead back to the game and what had happened, right? Like some of those game elements, so that way we could like keep it realistic, but also to a bound of okay, this is still based on fantasy, so we can do some fantastical shit here. He can jump off the train onto his horse, backflip, shoot somebody with dual pistols and hop back. You know what I mean? Instead of it being like too like grounded in realism. Well, but I would actually be down for that.
Yeah.
And I think what they could do with that too is, you're talking about these guys that live in this like outlawish town in the middle of nowhere, right? That like, it could be, you could create it as like is he losing his mind kind of thing? Is he just seeing things? Like, is it really a magical town kind of thing, or is it mystical? And kind of dangle that hook out there and kind of thing, and just kind of see where that's another kind of deeper plot point you could really kind of put into this type of movie or show.
Yeah, that would be a good show.
And I mean, the whole game, the story of that game is unbelievable too, and the ending, like that would be an emotional show.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I think there's a lot you can do with that.
Oh, for sure.
I would definitely want to see him take episodes off to go on hunts, to go like hunt the big croc and like do all this like weird hunting shit. I don't know why I want that, because I just think it would be really cool episodes where it's like he's not just an outlaw doing outlaw shit. He's gonna go hunt this croc because he wants like the best gear he can get to.
Just go watch Bear Grylls, dude.
Same thing.
Same thing. What about you, Kirby? I know you got something good brewing over there.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
So, of course, we've already talked about Horizon Zero Dawn, which was my number one pick for this segment. I hyped up the story earlier in this podcast, so that is definitely one that I would love to see as a movie, TV series, whatever.
So good.
Again, the story is amazing. The visuals are just absolutely beautiful. So I think it could really be easily adapted to either the big or the small screen. But since we've talked about Horizon Zero Dawn a lot already, I could also see Mass Effect. Because Mass Effect was another really heavily story-driven series of games, and it falls into that sci-fi world that I think would translate pretty well to either a movie or a TV series, and they can kind of play with which Commander Shepard you're going to get, because there's the whole morality system in those games where you can either go Paragon or Renegade, and they can kind of play around with that. But I think Mass Effect would be a pretty cool one.
Curbs, two things.
Yep.
One, Horizon Zero Dawn. I think Aloy, the female lead, is one of the strongest female leads in a video game or any other type of entertainment. So I think that would be great. And,
absolutely.
Let's freaking go. So I hope you agree there.
Oh, absolutely.
But two, how would you play around with the morality system? Because you do see some of these shows where it's like, all right, fans, get up and vote if we should kill all the Krogans or not, or do this. You know what I mean? And then have it like impact the world. Because I really wanted, if that becomes a series, like I don't necessarily have to make the choice. I just want to know when he does make that choice that it heavily influences and impacts everything that he does moving forward. If they could balance that and put that in there, man, oh my God, they'd have such a great series.
There was a movie on Netflix. I can't remember when it came out. I think it was in 2020, where every so often, it was like every maybe 10, 15 minutes or something like that, it would give you a choice.
Black Mirror.
Was it Black Mirror movie?
It was like a choose your own adventure thing.
Yeah, they did do that, and it was a pretty interesting concept. It definitely kept you locked to the TV.
So
that's for sure.
Except for when you chose wrong.
You could film, two variations of each scene and have that choose your own adventure where something pops up. Okay, Paragon, Renegade. Paragon, you get the good choice. Renegade, you get the other shot of the scene. And that'll determine how the end of the movie comes about.
I mean, it's a possibility, but nobody's made a good one yet.
No.
And I know Escape the Undertaker in 2021 came out. If you haven't played that movie series, because it's so weird, you got to go try it. It's like, hey, do you walk up the fog steps in the Undertaker's house, or do you go to the basement to turn the lights on? It's just like, I don't know. It's real corny, but it's great.
I don't know.
WWE.
Even if they rolled with just the Paragon choices, the vanilla choices, it would still be a great story and a great
100%.
series of movies. But I would love to see like an America's Got Talent style voting system. every decision comes up.
All of America.
Oh yeah.
COVID America would just be like, we watch horror movies now, like kill it.
Straight renegade the entire time.
I mean, you could actually make season 1 where he goes full Paragon and then see what happens at the end of season 1, and then season 2 actually be the exact opposite, and then shows what happens at the end of that.
Yeah,
true. And just be like, I know these are 2 different seasons, but this is what the outcomes would have been each way.
Yeah, true.
Look at us, movie directors. Fucking take some of these ideas and run with
take
them.
notes,
Start
guys.
taking notes,
Are you listening?
Make sure you're sending me
Email
that
us
check at the end of the month.
There's a lot of great ideas here, guys. There's a lot of
Emailing
great
us at
ideas.
rollingcreditspodcast@gmail.com. We will also give you these ideas.
Come at us. If you're enjoying this podcast, make sure to check out my movie and TV show review page called According to Seth. So it's According to Seth, and I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for some more amazing content and some fun clips. So make sure you stop by. I know we kind of already touched on this a little bit, but we're finally getting that Halo TV show. That thing is finally coming out. Are you guys looking forward to it? What are your thoughts on it? And we'll start with you, Pat, this time.
I think initially on paper, I think it was just the pessimist in me. I was like, oh no, I think it's gonna be another one of those corny video game adaptations. And then I saw the trailer, and it got me locked in. I was like, oh, this looks good. I take back everything I said. I think that they're kind of these studios are kind of starting to figure out the video game adaptation with Mortal Kombat, with things like Arcane, with these ones that are like bigger studios, bigger budgets, starting to kind of come into the fold and be like, okay, how do we balance fan service with a good story? And Halo is really just like, I think Gums, I think you said it earlier, it's the epitome of both. I mean, the lore that exists within Halo and the fan service that is in there. And I'm with Kirby on the same thing. I played Halo CE on the original Xbox in my buddy's garage. I love that series. I've loved it since the day it came out. I've been playing it for 20 years at this point. So I'm excited. I think they're going to do great. I'm definitely going to be locked in day one. I think it's going to be a really good time.
Damn, good memories.
Yeah.
We used to show up late to basketball practice because we were at somebody's house playing Halo.
Yeah.
And we would call our coach and be like, yeah, we're right at the front entrance. We're right at the front entrance. And we're like 10 minutes away. And, oh, good time.
That was like OG split screen days. Like, no screen peeking,
You had
dude.
to be-
What the hell?
Couch
Yep.
co-op.
Yep.
fucking
It's the
couch
best.
co-op.
That's some Mountain Dew. You're chilling. Bring back the old days. That's when GameStop was the thing, and you'd wait outside all night for it to just open up.
Yeah, that's when co-op was a thing, man.
That
The
too.
greatest multiplayer of all time is always and will be co-op, man. It's just nothing beats you living the game with your buddy right there, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Kirby, you excited for it?
I am. Like, over the last couple of years, we've seen some live action stuff pop up with Halo, Forward Unto Dawn, and Nightfall. I know Nightfall was kind of whatever. Forward Unto Dawn was cool. It was a fun little watch. But you know, we've now got this track record of the IP kind of stepping into the forefront of pop culture and entertainment. So it's kind of paved the way a little bit. The technology has come a long way with making movies. We're seeing a lot of really, really awesome TV shows and movies coming out. So I think we're kind of at a point now where we can really do the story justice, and really translate, you know, the character that is Master Chief well in a TV series. So I'm definitely stoked for it.
Yeah. Zoe Saldana as Cortana. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Ooh, I'm
like
in
it.
on that. I
Yeah.
like that.
I'm for
What
it.
should you call it? Do you know, is 343 involved in like the production process at all? Bring back Bungie. Let's go.
I thought I saw 343 pop up at the beginning of the trailer, but I could be mistaken. I was half paying attention in the beginning of it, but I mean, I'm sure they're.
I just looked it up. Production.
Stay on the rights.
Yeah.
Stay on the rights.
They're
So
involved
they
in some
gotta
way.
be.
Yeah.
The production
Yeah.
company is 343, Amblin Television, Showtime Networks, and a few others.
Okay.
Okay.
So they're involved.
So it's a coin flip at this point.
Yeah.
It's
Coin
a coin
flip.
flip.
Yeah.
Gums, what do you got?
I'll tell you like this. I actually really, really loved Forward Unto Dawn. It was like watching the first Godzilla movie of the latest Godzilla movies where they don't show Godzilla to the end.
Yep.
And you're really fucking pissed off because you're like, I came here for Godzilla. Or like Cloverfield. You're just like, I came here to see the big bad thing. And then you don't get it. But when you get it, it's so sweet. And so at first I was like, shit, this movie's okay. Now I went and watched it again. And I was like, man, this movie's great.
Yeah.
Like,
I watched it earlier today, actually.
Yeah, it's low budget as shit.
Yep.
But it is like, oh my God, like I can only imagine what they could do with the full budget. And all I get is like nighttime scene. Somebody's in the Warthog and the Master Chief just like drive.
Yeah.
He's just like drive.
Just on the gun. Yeah.
And I actually found myself more so interested in like seeing what the cadets were doing and how they were training and like them fighting each other and like doing these mock battles and like learning how they were being trained.
Yep.
And I'd really actually love to see that. And I hope we get that with the new series where we actually get to see how the Spartans trained, how they were made. I really want to focus in on the young years of the Spartans and how Master Chief became who he was, because he was the most well-rounded Spartan there ever was. His probability skills were top notch of any other Spartan, and that's kind of what made him also his ability of like pure plot armor, but that's like what made him such a good Spartan. And I want to like see him fight, and I want to see him bleed, and I want to see him grow as like he's like 14 years old and he's like 6'6", or 7'7". So it's like I really want that.
That's a good question. That brings up a good point though. Do you think they're gonna get into kind of like, because obviously they're gonna kind of start off the series probably similar to how CE starts off, right? Where it's like you see you're like from Master Chief's like basically in his chamber that like kind of, I would assume that's probably how they're gonna, because they're gonna follow him so closely. But do you think they're gonna kind of go deep dive into like kind of what happened on Reach and like kind of how they kind of bring that?
No.
Yeah, you think it's just gonna be more?
I believe an interview popped up that this is not going to touch the official game canon whatsoever. So it's going to be something completely separate. So we're not going to see, Reach or anything like that, or we might see it, but it's not going to be connected to any of the official game canon.
Oh, so in terms of like game storyline, it's going to be completely separate.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll probably be more book storyline than it probably will be game.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And the books are amazing. I've read them. They're amazing. I think would be a big miss if they didn't go through Master Chief's original like young kid story. If they have to do flashbacks, so be it. But I just think like growing up with the other Spartans and like it would just be such a damn miss to not actually take a moment to sit on that and just build that story and lore.
I guess we'll find out. I mean, it seems like we've reached the consensus that we're all excited for it. There's a couple things I want to see though. I want to see Master Chief go toe-to-toe with somebody with an energy sword. Give me some lightsaber action right there.
I'm kind of in on that.
Right?
That's fair.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Either that or a grab hammer.
Yeah, grab hammer. See him flying around in a freaking Banshee. Just like stealing it from somebody using the grappling hook. I don't know if it's going to be in the movie. Just maybe the game. The only thing that like worries me about the show is that it's going to Paramount now. Like to that Paramount Plus or whatever it is. So... because before it was supposed to be on Showtime, which I like completely trust Showtime, but like I don't know how that's gonna like work when it's on Paramount Plus. Which one of you guys is gonna have to get that and then just share your login. So.
Actually, I think I have it.
Oh, there we go.
Do you really?
I'm
I haven't watched anything on that platform.
There was one series that I was watching, and I can't at this point I can't remember what it was, but I did get a Paramount Plus subscription, and I just never canceled it, so I still have it.
You got my Peacock and HBO still.
That's fair. I don't have your HBO.
Well, somebody here does.
Yeah, you do.
Damn it.
Yeah, everybody does.
You mean I'm paying for HBO when
I
I don't need to be?
I don't know what you're talking about. I have my own HBO. Relax.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. But yeah, I am excited for that. I think it'll be good. And I mean, from the trailer, I know you brought this up about like the training gums. It kind of looked like we're gonna get like a look at their facility and like seeing them train and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, we should. Master Chief was a Spartan too. So we don't. I mean, there's still the Spartan 1s who are probably shit because nobody ever really talks about them. Then you got like the Spartan 3s, but like the Spartan 2s were the only real tanks. Like they were built to be tanks. Even like the Spartan 3s and 4s were more meant to be disposable and like to get rid of. But like the Spartan 2s were legit tanks, and they all excelled in like one thing where they were like very well rounded, but very much excelled in one thing, like sniping or like close hand or hand-to-hand combat, etc., close quarters. So.
I will say I am happy that like we've been waiting years and years for like a Halo show that's like
shit better
high
be good.
Quality. Yeah, so it better be good.
Or else.
Right, or else. So
man.
we've kind of already talked about Master Chief. He's a great video game character. But that brings me to the next topic: who is the best video game character? Because there's quite a bit. This is a tough one. I'm hitting you here with the brain teaser. So
there's too many, man.
Yeah, we'll start with Kirby this time.
I can't choose one, man. There are so many. Like
choose 7.
There are many. I mean, I could go Master Chief. I could go Master Chief. I could go Commander Shepard, Aloy for a recent game, Mario because is one of the most recognizable characters ever, and I got to say Kirby because.
Yeah.
Yourself?
No. I will be completely honest. I've never played a Kirby game in my life.
Kirby's great though.
His ability is great. His games are so-so.
It's all about Yoshi.
I mean, if I have to pick a fifth, Link, Legend of Zelda, sticking to my favorites right now.
Link.
No, it's Link.
Link is legit.
Gordon Freeman from Half-Life.
Yeah.
I feel like Link would be an Amazon show. It'd called Link, and it'd just be like this boy with some clearly bad fake elf ears on, running around like Shannara Chronicle style, like fucking just trash.
Don't call me Zelda plaque hanging in his bedroom.
I'd watch it though. What if it was a comedy, man? That'd be great.
I'd be into it.
I'd be in on that. Yeah,
like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but it's Link. That'd be sweet.
Charlie Day plays Link.
That would be amazing. I feel
I like that.
Because they're doing the Mario show or the Mario animated movie, and Chris Pratt was cast as Mario's voice.
Oh yeah, that's
I think
right.
that was the worst decision. I feel like they should have flipped it and had Charlie Day be the voice of Mario.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Funny.
It's just a voiceover.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. But what do you got for us, Gums? Let's hear your top 5.
For the best video game character, I didn't even get to 5, dude. I quit after 2.
I know. It's tough.
I was just like, yo, these are going to be it. Number 1 is Solid Snake. Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid franchise. The dude's a badass. I had many memories playing him and running through different facilities, choking out guards, smoking cigarettes to see red laser beams, eating rations. That's where I learned what rations were. I had a blast playing as Solid Snake, and he has one of the most badass storylines, and he's one of the most badass people, and he's like fighting mechas. It's just great. Second one is Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem is from the 90s. He would get so fucking canceled today. But in that game, as you walked around as Duke Nukem, I think he even has a game called Duke Nukem Land of the Babes. He's like the Johnny fucking Bravo of 1990s action stars. So he's just like, he'd get canceled today. He's like talking shit. There's like stripper poles and there's like ogre bitches dancing on poles in the game. And Duke Nukem was just one of those guys who took no shit. He said whatever he wanted, and he was uncancelable. He was a lot like Dave Chappelle. So that's kind of what I say that for.
Speaking of that, Gums, they were supposed to make a Duke Nukem movie and John Cena was going to be the star. I don't know whatever happened with it, but they brought that up a couple years ago. And I don't know if it's still happening or not, but Duke Nukem was going to be played by John Cena.
Hilarious.
They would literally cancel the shit out of that. Because
it's basically Peacemaker.
Oh my God, that thing would be so raunchy.
Yeah,
it would be so raunchy.
Yeah.
It'd be great, but...
Yeah. It's basically Peacemaker, though, let's be honest.
It's awesome.
What do you got,
Duke
Nukem?
For me, I think it's got to be Master Chief. It's really hard for me not to choose that. Yeah. It's just a game series that hell, I was back home and I was telling my parents that I was playing the newest Halo or whatever. And like, dude, you've been playing that fucking game for 20 some odd years. What the hell? And it's just it's just that character has you locked in. So I think that's just like my easy button answer. My honorable mention will be Captain Price, especially from the Modern Warfare series. You know, I mean, that's definitely for all the Call of Duty fans, it's an easy one out there. Gotta love Captain Price. But I think Master Chief is probably a solid number one for me.
Yeah,
I think what's rare in this podcast is somebody who actually played the damn campaign. So kudos to you. And,
in Call of Duty,
Captain Price. Yeah,
that was the best campaign.
My man said Captain Price. Like 99% of America knew who that was, because I was like, who? I had to Google that one. I was like, oh, Call of Duty.
Bro, that's the best campaign. That sniper mission.
MW2?
Oh, the sniper mission is a lot of fun.
That sniper mission I could just play over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're sick. It's fucking sadistic, dude.
It's fun. I like hiding in the bushes, dude. That's how I survived the horror movie, remember?
I mean, that's fair.
I get it.
Take him out or let him pass. Choice is yours.
Exactly. That's me in real life.
Seth just with the heavy trigger finger, bro. Just
He's just pop, pop, pop.
just rhythmic with it.
If you've never played Warzone with him, then yes, that's true.
This is true. And then, you know, we won some great matches, though. Well, you know, I'm not always the worst. There are a few other people we play with who do bring the team down. We won't name names.
Name them by first and last name. Let's go.
No, you know who it is, Gums. You know who it is. If you're listening, you know who we're talking about. You.
I will be completely honest. When I first started playing Warzone, it was like the first time I played Call of Duty in years, and I was terrible.
Yep.
So, could have been me.
No, it's not you.
It wasn't you.
It wasn't you.
You ain't cooking pasta mid-match.
That's great. That's great. Putting right into us at rollingcredits@gmail.com if you know who we're talking about.
You know who you are.
I'm dying over here now.
Come get your revenge on our podcast.
Did you just order crumble? Go to the door and get it.
I wasn't gonna bring up the crumble.
I was about one sentence away.
I had to do it.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
Come join us on the podcast.
I know. Jump in, bro.
So for best video game character, I have a few too. I know you guys already said Master Chief. I'm surprised nobody said Kratos, because Kratos' story is pretty like sad, honestly, but it's really good. Who else? I had Tomb Raider. I feel like Tomb Raider is just like very well known. That's like been a thing that just hasn't ended ever. It just continues and continues. Of course, Mario's always great. But yeah, I feel like Master Chief has to be like number one, because that was like the first game that I really played growing up that I like, you know, of my own, you know, because when you're younger, play like Super Smash Bros with your brothers and things like that. But with Halo, that was my first like console game of my own. So kind of grew up
definitely
with that
well known.
Definitely,
guy's well known.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not just, you know, for Master Chief. It's, I mean, at least for me, it's kind of a 2-in-1, because, you know, you get Cortana. Like the relationship between Master Chief and Cortana is just, it's something that drives the story of the Halo series so much that you know you can't have one without the other.
Can you have sex with AI? That's the real question.
Yep.
I mean, how interactive is that suit of armor he's in? Yeah. How interactive is his suit of armor?
20 years later,
Scroll
we're
the
getting
other questions,
to answering
right?
these questions, okay? I think that's what Kirby was trying to say the whole time.
Yes.
We're not even going to release the rest of this podcast. We're going to answer this one question, and that's going to be our broadcast.
Let's go ahead and answer this, because we're getting mighty close these days, and I think it was all started between the relationship of Cortana and Master Chief.
Yep.
The next Halo game is going to be brought to you by the studio who did The Witcher, and they'll answer that question for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what,
Yes, they will.
Yeah, that's crazy. Sorry to interrupt, Curbs. I just knew where you were going with it, and I wanted to make sure I steered you
in the right direction
into that conversation.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we don't know how interactive his armor is, so...
Yeah.
It's like Iron Man. He pushes a button and just everything comes undone.
Basically.
Right? Otherwise, that thing's going to be a pain in the ass to take off at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's fair.
I mean, he definitely has a filtration system, and he's probably more out like the Boba Fett's and Jango Fett's, or I should say actually the Mandalorians, where like he shouldn't be removing his helmet.
Yep.
But I think that's what makes it I think endears everybody to Master Chief is because you don't really know who's behind that helmet. And so it could be anything or anybody. And so that could be you. And so you're kind of planting yourself in that position because really, you know, he's just running around with this big tanky armor and doing this awesome shit. So that's what you want to do, you know?
Yeah.
And also you might like some cyborg, you know?
I think we're tapping into like some sort of, you know, thing for Gums here.
Not safe for work.
I'm just trying to see if Skynet's listening so that they pick me to survive. Okay, if I can't survive a horror movie, I can survive an action flick. So come on, Skynet.
I'm gonna have to put that disclaimer, not safe for work, guys. Kids, if you're listening, turn away.
No, they should listen.
It's
gonna be their generation. It's gonna be their generation that has these weird dolls.
They're gonna be the ones that figure it out. So
yeah, it's gonna be them with the weird dolls.
Speaking of generations, you know, we went through a whole gauntlet of games growing up. Is there one that you guys would want to see get remastered today for today's systems? What game would that be? So we'll start with you, Pat, and go around.
I was a big fan on the PlayStation 2 of the Jak and Daxter series. I was a big fan of all of them, specifically the first three, I'd say. So I was a big fan of those ones. So I would actually like to see those come back, get a little bit of a new story going on some of those. I just always liked the adventures. I liked how it got really gritty in the second game, and then kind of pushed that a little bit further by the third game. So that was a series I really liked. That was always the one I wanted to go back to. So I think that'll be kind of my top pick.
Curves, what do you got?
Aliens versus Predator 2. This game came out in 2001 or 2002 at first-person shooter, and it's I mean, if nobody's ever watched like Aliens or Predator, it's Aliens versus Predator, and there's some humans thrown into it. It's got 3 different storylines that you can play through: a human, marine, an alien, and a predator.
So you can play as a predator?
Yep, you can play as all 3. They all have different kind of intertwining storylines, and you know, the story's fun. It's not too long. The thing that really drove it for me was the multiplayer. The multiplayer community for Aliens vs. Predator 2 was phenomenal. You know, there were, you know, teams and, you know, gaming clans popping up left and right. I was involved in, you know, a team at one point and playing, you know, online against other people, like other teams. And it was just a lot of fun. It dominated a lot of years for me before Sierra, the developer, I think it was Sierra, shut down their servers because, you know, the game had kind of, you know, trailed off
Filtered
a little
out.
bit. Yeah, it just kind of lost steam after a while. But I mean, like, that is my multiplayer FPS game style right there. Like, you know, we'll play Warzone, Apex, stuff like that, and it's fun. But throw me into a team deathmatch in AVP2, and I'm busting out 100+ kills in a 35-minute match. Like, I will go God mode in that freaking game.
Yeah, you know what? Prove it. Put it on the podcast. Live stream.
You know what, Gums? Go to my gaming YouTube channel. There's a video of me dropping 111 kills.
Plug it for me right now, actually. Plug it for us right now. What's your gaming channel?
YouTube.com. It's Dreadnought Gaming.
Let's go. Dreadnought, how do we spell that?
DREDNOUGHT.
Let's go, baby. Fear nothing.
Exactly.
Go check them out on YouTube.
Yep, you can find a 111 kill game. And the great thing about Aliens vs. Predator 2, there's still a community for it. Like, Sierra shut down the servers, somebody modded it so that they could bring it back, and you'll still find people playing it to this day. So
nice.
Game.
It's phenomenal. And I'm pretty sure you can get it for free at this point.
Wow. Gums, what about you, sir?
What game would I bring back?
Yep.
There's multiple, and I'll get to my favorite one at the end. Okay, you ready? First one, I would say Legends of Dragoon.
Oh,
it's a PlayStation
I love
classic.
you so much for that.
I need it in my life. I actually put it on my PS3, and I need a new one here for the PS5. I must play that sometime within the next 5 years.
Yep.
The other one is X Squad. It's an old PS2 game. I have fond memories of it because it was just such a great action game that played a lot like, I don't know what it played a lot like. It was like a mix between Metal Gear Solid and like some other action adventure, Max Payne or something. Parappa the Rapper would be fun. Siphon Filter would be great. And for my number one, and now everybody vibe with me here, Def Jam Vendetta.
Oh, there you go.
Yo, Def Jam was a fun game.
But I want it to be this. I want it to be Def Jam Vendetta versus like Motown Records or something.
Nice.
Or like I want good music versus OVO, which means like Drake and Pusha T can actually fight on screen.
Yes.
and Kanye can be involved and he can be DJing in the back talking shit. Like I need that game where the rappers were fighting and you could like, I don't know if you haven't played this game you could get gold chains, you could actually fight over women, and then the women would come with you and be part of your crew and be like your girlfriends. And like, I mean, give me that back. That's my number
I was gonna
one.
say that could be done like in today's era so much better because movie studios are so big.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get that MGK versus Eminem fight.
You could do
Yeah,
it though.
exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You put these guys in a roster, and I mean, just imagine the shit that could go down to chaos, man. Like Canada versus USA type shit too. Like you could have some fun with it for real.
Oh, definitely.
I'm honestly surprised nobody said GoldenEye yet, which it's not even my number one pick. But like they need to remake GoldenEye from the N64 already.
They
Like,
do.
I don't know
I
what's
agree with
taking
that.
them so long. That game
Because-
was
Well,
amazing.
did you see that leak that they had
Yeah,
at
they, like they
Xbox?
dynamited it or something.
Yeah, that apparently there are like achievements that like exist within Xbox's system. That's like the rumors that they're gonna bring back GoldenEye because they found like deep achievements in like Xbox's system or something like
I
that.
feel like they keep finding stuff like that, and then it just never comes to fruition though. Like,
True. Yeah.
That game was so legendary. But my actual number one, and I don't know if you guys have ever played this, but Conker's Bad Fur Day. The old N64 game. That game was just such a blast. I honestly don't think it would be allowed to get made today because it's just like so like not for the times. But I mean, you literally could like spend 5 minutes peeing in a bathroom. Like the game is just wild.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like my parents, when they found me playing that game, they just tossed it in the trash. It was gone.
It's like, no.
That wasn't the first game.
nope.
They like threw out we grabbed Mortal Kombat on our way home. I don't remember if it was my dad or if my mom was driving, but one of them was like, "What was the game you got?" And they're like, "It was Mortal Kombat." And they're like, "Wait, this is rated M?" And then they rolled down the window while we're on the freeway and throwed that shit out of the car. So I didn't get to play
Damn.
Mortal Kombat.
Man, that's tragic, dude.
Yeah,
Ouch.
it was real tragic. So that was one of many things that were thrown from the car. Blink-182, one of the albums was thrown too. They're not like cursing.
Blink-182? Come on.
There's an album.
You should just stop showing your parents shit and just
Yeah.
make
just
them
hold
buy
on
it
to
for you and just forget about it. Stop
Exactly.
sharing.
What was wrong with all the small things? Come on now, right?
Yeah.
It's on. It's a great song.
I'll tell you what, 007 was okay. GoldenEye was
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry, I was more of a Nightfire type of guy. I love driving around the cars in the third person shooting and like the going through vents and using my wristwatch grapple hook. That's just me though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I did play the shit out of 007 GoldenEye. With
Yeah,
that golden
GoldenEye
guns.
was just iconic in a sense because it was
It was
like
the
that,
first.
like, well, and it was like that sandbox shooter, right? That was another one of those like split screen eras.
Yeah.
That it was
Yeah,
like
exactly right.
everyone
That
bitched
and
because
Perfect
you didn't
Dark.
want to use Odd Job,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then it
Perfect
was
Dark.
like you had to like preset make like the rules and stuff like that to be able to play. I mean,
Bro,
that was
Yeah.
it was an iconic game.
split screen slappers only GoldenEye is next level.
Yeah.
The remote mines, the freaking lasers, golden gun, like it's just such a throwback, such a classic game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Perfect Dark rivals it with its alien shoot through the wall gun.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Perfect Dark was a great game.
Yeah, it was. I gotta say though, I'm surprised that somebody else other than me knew Legend of Dragoon. I still have the PS1, like the dual stacked case with it. Yeah,
Oh
I've got
my
it in my
God.
room right now.
I gotta tell you this then, Kirby. Me growing up 90s, right? I'm playing the damn game. I'm playing the shit out of this game. I'm loving it. I'm loving everything about this game, dude. I'm leveling my characters. They're turning into, so Legend of Dragoons basically follows these characters. I don't know, they're trying to save the world or something, but they have these abilities to turn into dragons, right? Or don armor from
dragon armor,
dragonoid, right? So that's why they call them dragoons. So these characters have that, and along the way you collect more characters that you can swap out for your main characters that also have these abilities. And I mean, shit gets crazy. It's really fun. It's like magic powers and stuff. I get to about the third disc, and this was back in the day where when you switch discs, you had to like leave your PlayStation running and then open it and then put the game in. I didn't know that, so I'd always shut my PlayStation off and then put the third game in, and then I could never get it to work. So eventually I figured that out. But more importantly, I got stuck on disc 3 so bad in a hub that I, out of frustration as a child, took the game, broke it in half, then realized what mistake I made, and then broke the rest of them in half. And then I regret never beating the game fully when I was a kid. And then I bought it again for the PS3, and I forgot to finish it because then I got like a PS4. So
yeah. It's a great game.
That's my Dragoon story. It's amazing. It's
a lot of fun. When I was a kid, I ended up getting it, and the third disc, by the time I got to the third disc, I think my brother had dropped it or something, and it got scratched up, so it would just freeze. And I was so angry. So when I was an adult and had adult money, I got it again. It wasn't easy to find, but I got the physical copy, and it is now sitting in a display case in my room.
Gums is going to be visiting you soon to come play it.
I would 100% sit there and trade off with you on controllers for fucking play.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's a great game.
To beat Legend of Dragoon, that's like a 60 to 100 hour game, dude. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Each disc is about 20 hours.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Pat, you ever play this game?
I have not played this game. I have not played Legend of Dragoon.
If you can get into like some of the early Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy VII, you will really enjoy Legend of Dragoon.
100%.
The name 100%. Just sounds cool, so I'm in.
Yeah. I'm going to go download it on Steam if I can find it. You know what?
That's a great game.
Let's take a look.
Take a look. So, this is going to be the hardest segment and hardest question that we got today. What is your favorite game of all time? You had to bring it up. So, we're going to start with you, Pat, because I know Gums over there is looking for something. So I'm going to go around the circle here.
I think that my knee-jerk reaction is to say Halo 3. It's probably my knee-jerk reaction to say. I will say though, and I'm partially bringing this up because I saw a little bit about the studio potentially releasing another game in this series. So I'm kind of like that. Hey, motherfuckers! I want to see another game in this series. I played in a disgusting amount of Skate 3. I loved the Skate series because I was really into the Tony Hawk series. But then when they came out with Skate, it was like the ability to be able to do all the tricks like with the thumbstick was like such a cool concept to me. So like I loved those games, and I heard they're coming out with Skate 4. So like, hey guys, make fucking Skate 4. Yeah. But I think the knee-jerk reaction is to say Halo 3, probably the most iconic multiplayer of all time. Basically defined ranking systems for video games to be able to grind ranked multiplayer. It was with Xbox Live, some great maps. I mean, just an iconic video game.
Definitely.
What do you got, Kirby?
I gotta say Half-Life. Half-Life, to me, like it really kind of put first-person shooters into kind of the forefront of my gaming experience. So this came out in '98, so a couple of years after Doom, and it took what Doom initially did and just vaulted it forward by years. It's now known as one of the most influential first-person shooter games of all time, and it really kind of it really did reinvent the wheel for first-person shooters. So at that time, Doom was probably the most popular first-person shooter you had. And it was, you'd run through specific levels and the story would kind of advance a little bit, between levels. It'd have cutscenes, stuff like that. Half-Life was the first one to go a continuous story. It wasn't level by level. It was just little different chapters, but you never broke the immersion from the character. And the story was advanced through like scripted like moments that would happen in the game while you're still in control of the character. And that was really revolutionary for the time. And I played the hell out of that game when it came out. And one of the cool things with it was they gave players access to the source so that they could make their own mods. They could make their own levels, their own game modes. And a lot of those ended up actually being standalone games in the future, like Counter-Strike was a mod from Half-Life that ended up taking off and becoming its own game. It really advanced where the first-person shooter genre was by miles, by years. And I love that. I still love it. Crowbar Collective came out with a fully like remastered, redone version of the game, and I played through it. I'm probably gonna play through it again now that I'm talking about it. It's just a great game.
I don't think I knew that CS was born out of Half-Life.
Yep.
So that was 1.6?
Cool.
Was that a Half-Life mod?
Yeah.
Kind of thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
cool. Yeah.
I always wanted to play Half-Life. I feel like I might have
it.
played it with Counter-Strike at like in high school. There was this like gaming arcade that you could go to, like this PC gaming arcade. And I'd always like go there after school. And I think I might have played a little bit of Half-Life there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it's that expensive for the it's called Black Mesa, which is the remake of the game. And yeah, it's on Steam. It's a fantastic game.
I actually heard that there was an arcade back in the day by Seth's house where some parents came in and just threw it out.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was a kid there that wasn't supposed to be, and they just threw the whole arcade out.
Yeah, just started
And
chucking
that's
PCs out the window.
Somehow
why
they threw it out the window of a car.
Yeah.
That's why
On the
arcades
freeway.
no longer exist as much
Blame
because
my parents, I guess.
of him.
Or me.
No, I'm blaming the kid.
Okay.
I'm blaming the kid.
Damn, what's with these last two episodes? You guys just roasted me.
It's
the
great
roast of
content.
Ted.
It seems to be
It's
a good
great
theme
content.
in the past like 5 minutes of each episode. It's just like, hey, let's just round it off by roasting Seth.
Roundhouse kick to the chest.
Yeah, seems like a nice way to
myself up
wrap
for
up
these.
this episode.
I set myself up for these. That's how you know the episode's ending, guys. They're gonna roast me.
But in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's playful. You guys are friends.
Yeah. It's on a slow simmer, 350 for 25 to 30 minutes.
Damn straight.
What do you got for us, Gums? What's your favorite game of all time?
I got a few. So Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain. That was one of my top. Divinity Original Sin 2, which I mentioned earlier. A game called Kingdom of Amalur Reckoning. They actually re-released this as Re-Reckoning. I highly encourage you guys to pick this up. Curbs, if you like the looter genre, the loot and slash genre, this is like an action RPG with loot. So you run through, you can twin blade it, you can be a mage, you can be whatever, but like it's a lot faster paced, more like that Diablo, but it's more third person solo than anything, not top down. Pokemon Heart Gold, Legends of Dragoon, a mobile game I really love. I've been playing for about 7 years. It's called Summoner's War. I think I'm like top 10,000 in the global server, typically out of millions of people. Elder Scrolls Online is basically Skyrim online. It's the only there's an MMO RPG that I love or like. Total Warhammer 2. Actually, all Total Warhammer games you should try if you love strategy and like war and want to watch these little dudes fight in mass and then zoom in and like watch people annihilate each other. Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Knight Academy, and then Dragon Age 2. So I know there's a lot there, but if I've mentioned one game that somebody says I never heard of that and they went to try it and it becomes their favorite game, I'm an RPG guy. It's what I love to do. It's what I love to play. And they go try it and say, hey, man, after listening to your podcast, this is what I tried and I love it. I've done my job and I can just quit. So
It's funny because I asked for one and you just gave your whole catalog of every game you ever played.
that's not even every game, bro. That's just the ones I could think of off the top of my head.
It's okay. People, hey, they got options now. That's what we want. The audience have options.
Yep.
True.
So
Yeah.
for me, this one was tough because, like, growing up, GoldenEye, NFL Blitz, that WCW, NWO, revenge wrestling game, those were the games I, like, played, some couch co-op with my cousins, my brothers. So those are really kind of, like, what got me into gaming. And then, as I got older, I played, like, God of War, Gears of War. God of War 3 was up there with one of my favorite games. But I have to say, like, the whole Gears of War trilogy is probably my favorite just because the story in Gears of War, if you actually like play the whole game, it's such a great story. And honestly, the third game is the only game that actually ever made me cry. Like that game was emotional. Shit went down. I know you guys haven't played the full thing yet, some of you, but like shit went down in that third game, and I was like, damn, they really went there. So I gotta say, Gears of War is probably my favorite game, just because it's just such a beautiful game, and like all the things that you can do in it, and plus chainsaws on the end of a gun. Like, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Fair.
So, yeah. Gears of War, guys. Play that if you haven't. So, with that was it. I hope you guys all enjoyed the episode today. We got to nerd out a little bit, which is our favorite thing to do. We love video games and movies, of course.
Yep.
So, we have a lot of great content coming your way. We got a lot of stuff planned. So, stick around. And as always, Gums, send us out.
Get over here and listen to our podcast. Hit us up at rollingcreditspodcast@gmail.com if you've got questions, concerns, want to talk about a topic, or maybe just be on our podcast and talk with us. But per usual, let's keep it rolling.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Rolling Credits Podcast. Be sure to give us a listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Google Play, or a full video recording on our YouTube page. And be sure to check us out on our social medias at Rolling Credits Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one.